Good afternoon. Welcome, ladies. Hi, Abigail.
Hello, good afternoon.
Right, Miss Kim, perfect timing. And Heather, welcome.
Hi. Thank you for having me.
Pleasure. So today,
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, pleasure. Today is Project Positive Planet. This is our series on planet-based healing. I think it is our 11th episode, Kim. Joining us are our special guests, one of the HEMP twins, Abigail, and Heather Allman. And Project Positive Planet is a collaboration of Well World TV, We Consulting, and Papilia. Hi, ladies.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Stephanie.
Good morning. Good afternoon. I'm not sure.
Good evening.
Wherever you're
Morning
doing
from Los Angeles.
Good evening.
Yes. Here we are on Friday, the 26th of June, the year 2020. Just the day prior, just a bit of news flash to put into perspective where we are, how we're healing, how we're dealing, how we're growing, and again, healing as a planet. As of yesterday, 32 out of 50 states in the United States reported an increase in COVID infections. Let's just put this in perspective. 2.4 million people in the United States. At the same time, in the same day, respect to Latin America, they surpassed 2 million infections, all of Latin America. So that's looking at North America and South America and the immediate need for us to really find ways to strengthen our immune systems, our immunological response, our health, our wellness for people and planet. So there couldn't be a better time in this moment for us to come together in all of our diversity and beauty and become more educated as well as it relates to growing and healing for people and planet with hemp. So it is an absolute pleasure to welcome Heather Allman and Abigail Cuevas, one of the two hemp twins. And in there, if you would just share with us your brief story and what brought you to hemp and what do you think we really have to look forward to in the future of hemp in healing? Heather?
Hi, as she said, I'm Heather Allman. I am from Pensacola, Florida, and I'm so far west. I'm in Central Time Zone. I am not in Eastern, so it's a little bit odd for people sometimes to adjust. I moved here in 1993 with my husband. I have 26 years. I started out just a regular college career. I didn't consume CBD until I was in college, about 1991. And I did it more as a recreational thing. And I learned that it was something that helped me expand my mind, but that was very simple. I didn't notice the balance. I went on in the 90s to get a Bachelor of Arts and then a Master of Arts in English from the University of West Florida. After West Florida, got my degrees. I taught there for 13 years as a faculty instructor, and I did public speaking, I did professional writing, and everything was just, on track for my life. And then 2010, I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, and I crashed down my world. I had to stop my career. I was physically disabled, and I ended up on medication after medication after medication. So that's when my journey with hemp and CBD and cannabis began, was with, I wasn't happy with what I was giving as far as traditional medicine. I wanted something more integrative, that was more holistic, that brought me more balance to my life. And that led me to petition for our 2016 amendment here in Florida. I became a medical cannabis patient in 2017, and I have never looked back. I have gotten into the industry. I'm a freelance journalist. I write mostly for Cannabis Law Report, and I try to give a voice to every group and patronage out there who is plant-based. And I have gone down from 25 traditional medications to 6. So I can literally say that CBD, hemp, cannabis is a beautiful part of my integrative medicine on a daily basis.
Integrative
you.
medicine. Love that, Heather. So glad you're with us today. And it's a remarkable story how your body's response to cannabis and your endocannabinoid system response, the nerve support from
Right.
cannabis for your body and dealing with MS. It's really good news. Really good.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, that neuroplasticity, it starts, and neurogenesis. I mean, they've proven that with ALS and Alzheimer's that it's literally regenerating connections in my head.
Yes.
And I can, I have went from, being so low in a mental place to being able to, do this and to publish and to interview people and to spread the news of how hemp can heal.
Yes.
And I think that's what we're all here for. So thank you for having me. Really
honored that you're here, Heather. Thank you so much.
And then we have, I would say, hemp twin Abigail. It's wonderful to see you today.
Hi, everyone. Thank you. Nice to see you too.
Abigail, welcome back, and thank you for your patience with the technical difficulties here. We were just taking a brief moment to give our backstory and our future forward thought of what's possible with hemp as well. So we'd love to hear from you.
Hi. So a little background on me. I'm from Los Angeles, California. I was born and raised here. I have an identical twin sister.
Oh, she dropped. Oh.
Hopefully she'll be able to pop back in.
Yes, I'll just give a bit of a background then, just so we know very briefly. It's Abigail and her sister Noemi, and they are both advocates in Los Angeles. They actually started to represent hemp at their university. They both are established in their fields of technology and architecture. They were student advocates. The campus almost said, hey, we don't want everybody getting high, get off campus. Now those that were not listening to their advocacy are now some of their best supporters. And the hemp twins are recognized for educating for hemp in university level as well as community level. Abigail, it's all you. I kind of gave that back.
Okay, I'm back. Yeah, so like she said, in community colleges, educated everyone. Everybody thought that we were trying to get everyone high, but we were actually the hemp club. And so the first thing they said is they went up to their boss. It's just like, there's these two little crazy twins coming around campus talking about hemp. I just don't want to lose my job. So, I don't know what to do. I'm letting you guys know ahead of time. So, yeah, I mean, the education really came when we were in our architecture class. That's when we started to become architects. And so that's really passionate about, a class that we had was about materials. And so we were trying to go more for organic, sustainable materials. And that's how hemp came across. But a little backtrack of how we got this cannabis industry more is that I was diagnosed with vitiligo 10 years ago. And I was a senior my high school year. And so I started getting white patches on my face, and I didn't know what was going on. So I was to the doctors, and they were trying to give me steroids, trying to make me do UV lighting and do a lot of stuff. And so my sister beforehand, she had already consumed cannabis, and she was telling me, just consume cannabis. You'll stop going to the doctor, you'll stop doing this, you'll be in less pain. And so I actually, so many times she was trying to push me to do it, and she was tired of seeing me, in pain. I took a hit, and then ever since that, it was what has been curing me and has been keeping me going. But we grew up, and our generation, we grew up with that cannabis is like a gateway drug and everything. So in my mentality, I was living with that, and as Latina, our parents are super against cannabis. And yeah, so it's just seeing a different world of it, that you can make paper out of it, construction, you could eat it, you can use it for cosmetology, you can use it for plastics, and it's just a lot of stuff, for guitars, for backpacks. So it's just so many uses of cannabis, of hemp, that people just aren't aware of, and they just think is used for medicinal. So we're here just to educate about it and all of its benefits.
Amen. Welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Yep, that's right. And shout out to the hemp twins. Again, Abigail is here with us. Her sister Noemi was called to work. These ladies are dedicated, hardworking, hearts and hands, really, really involved in making a difference. One thing that you said, and we chatted about this before, I know we have a poll coming up, but just for our listeners, and thank you all for being here today to join us at Planet-Based Healing. Cannabis is the family name. Inside of that are the variations on the theme, the variations on the plant. So please keep in mind, cannabis is the family of plants or the main genus species under which you have what we call medical marijuana and also what we're referring to as hemp. So with this change, or this all came about with the Farm Bill in 2018. So we've got a quick poll to just get a pulse of where our listeners are in terms of understanding the Farm Bill and the opportunities that have opened up since the 2018 Farm Bill. So I think we have a poll here.
Yeah, the response right now is about 50% of people are familiar with it.
So it's 50-50?
Yep.
Okay, all right. So that's really important to know, and just to keep in mind that that's the legislation that has happened within this country in the United States to begin to bring hemp to the forefront. But as Heather said yesterday in our tech check, we're underregulated and overregulated at the same time. So we still haven't found homeostasis, which is really the ultimate outcome of cannabis in our body and for the world. Is we need homeostasis and legislation, just as cannabis helps with maintaining or bringing homeostasis to our body through the endocannabinoid system. So a little analogy there, but thank you for sharing that with the poll, Stephanie. I appreciate that. So sorry to see that Abigail dropped again, but I'm sure she'll be coming back.
I can step in there with just on her behalf. She spoke a little bit there about the diversity that is opened up with the Farm Bill, and that's one of the big topics today. And what we have discussed among ourselves and bigger conversations is diversity in the legal cannabis and hemp industries is vitally important for a variety of reasons. And first of all, I think that it would be this erasing that stigma that's related to certain demographics and cannabis use, or even cannabis leadership. We have gotten to a place where we feel there's a boundary there. And I think that if we could get rid of that and get some more inclusion, it's the perfect industry and space to include all ideas. And with that outreach of ideas, you would also bring in more consumers, because those consumers would be an issue like of trust with people who have the same background as them. And they can go in and talk to these people. And I think that diversity is something that's sorely needed in legal cannabis and legal hemp. And we're working on it slowly. But we all need to be part of that solution. And I think everybody here is committed to doing that. And I know Abigail and her sister, are as well. And it's about people understanding that hemp is not something that gets you high. It is something that can heal your system and restore balance and help with a myriad of conditions. But I'm not making any kind of medical claim. This is an individualized experience. And I think that knowing all of you listeners and viewers that there are compatriots out there, we all feel the same way. We support you. And we're all in this together. And the more diverse and inclusive that we are, the more accessible that hemp becomes to everybody for any reason. And I think that's what's most important.
Absolutely. Oh no, we just lost her again. Shoot. Abigail keeps dropping. On Abigail's behalf and on the Hemp Twins' behalf, during our tech check yesterday, they're a passionate couple of young women. And they both say, to quote, "Let's hemp the world. Let's all get hempy. Let's really bring this forward. What are we waiting for?" And yes, we're sharing your motto. Let's hemp the world, Abigail, right? Can you hear us? Abigail, can you hear?
Yeah, I can hear you. I just understood the last part that you said, let's help the world.
Yes, that's your
Yay.
quote from your sister yesterday. Let's hemp up the world. Let's hemp out the world. We're chatting about, advocacy as a passion, the diversity required for bringing hemp to the forefront. If 100% of the plant can be utilized, what have been some of let's take a look at the plant. Starting, before we lose you, let's go ahead and start with you, please, Abigail. We've got 50,000 uses of the hemp plant. You
Yes.
were going to speak to us about the use of the stalk, the herd, and the roots of the hemp plant. And you have some to tell. What is that?
This is the hemp herd. As you guys can see it.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Hemp herd.
Yes.
This is what we use for the hemp building material. So we mix it with water and lime, and then it does a mixture. Then it becomes a hempcrete ball.
Okay.
This is just a little sample of what we do. We actually host workshops at our campus, and we open it to the community so they could come and have a hands-on experience, because it's different when you hear about it and when you actually have a hands-on experience. So then we have them mix the hemp herd and then temper it into a frame that we usually do. We have done small structures made out of dog houses. And this is just a sample of what we have done, and it's fireproof, earthquake resistant, termite resistant, and it has a lot of benefits. As you know, everything from the hemp plant could be used. It's not just, and the thing from it is waste. This is another hemp herd with fibers.
We lost you, Abigail, I'm sorry to say, but we hear you clearly.
Okay, can you guys see me?
Yes, we hear you.
Okay, so these are the hemp fibers. It's a bigger stalk. It's a whole hemp plant, so if you see the whole stalk. And this is usually the woody part. It's called the herd or hemp shive. And this is used for hemp building material. But obviously this could be used to make hemp fabrics. Like hemp traders have hemp fabrics. These are all different types of fabrics that could be done. My shirt is actually made out of hemp, 100% hemp. So, hemp, you could wear it, you could eat it, it can house you, it can heal you, and it cures you. So these are...
Preach.
So yeah, it has so many benefits. I have a backpack out of hemp as well. Little hemp backpack. I have a hemp face mask that my mom has made. COVID, So little hemp back. And then I actually hand knitted this myself. So there's so many uses that hemp could make that you can make a lot of stuff out of it, and like have example hemp milk, you could drink it, eat it, hemp seeds. I don't have a soap right now, but I use the Dr. Bonner soap as well.
Mm-hmm.
And the benefits of it.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Advocate.
Isn't the son of Dr. Bronner a big advocate for hemp, and they use a lot of hemp in Dr. Bronner's products? Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
It is. I am a big fan of Dr. Bronner's. I was for years before I even knew anything about hemp because it's wonderful. You can clean with it and you can wash your face with it. I mean, I find that amazing.
Yes.
So, it's part of exactly what you're saying, the myriad of products that you can make out of it and, are surprising to people. People don't realize the extent of, what the opportunities are out there.
And Heather, you were going to chat with us about the use of the bud or the flower, as well as the leaves of the hemp plant and uses of those.
Right.
And Abigail, thank you for that presentation. It was really good.
I can pull up the slide of the plan if you like, Kim.
Good. Yes, please. And Heather, walk us through it. That'd be great.
Okay. At the very top of, as Kim said, we are talking about the Cannabis sativa L plant. That's the genus and species named by Carl Linnaeus before we even knew what an endocannabinoid system was. And what we've realized about hemp, you can see from the slide, is that top to bottom, you can use the entire plant. So she just told you a little bit about the bottom of the plant and the bulk of the plant and some of the many uses. The top of the plant that you see there, from the flower or the bud at the very top to the leaves that fall down throughout, that is what is made into cannabis and medical cannabis, whether it's recreational or medical. And that is done through a myriad of ways. They collect it, and it contains everything THC to cannabinoid acid form. And they synthesize all that with the terpenes that occur naturally, with the flavonoids that are there, with the fatty acids. They create an entourage effect, and they do this through lab work and scientific work. And so they get safety, consistency, efficiency out of these leaves and flowers of the cannabis sativa or hemp plant. And so there's absolutely no part that goes to waste. It depends on a company's extraction method. Some companies use an ethanol extraction. Some companies use a CO2 extraction. And what that means is, how do they actually develop the leaf and the flower into an oil to put in a vape pen, or into an oil to put in a tincture, or into a concentrate that you can use in a myriad of ways as well. Edibles to people use them topically, for that matter. So I think for the sake of looking at that graphic, it goes to show you that everything she talked about is the middle to the roots down. And I mean, everything from the top up is used by cannabis companies to develop, and CBD and hemp companies to develop into products that can be used and ingested safely by humans. And that comes by, sometimes we light them, and that's decarboxylation occurs, and that acid drops off. That's when it becomes THC, the CBD, CBCs, CBNs. If you ingest it internally, instead of being decarboxylated, it goes through what's called liver first pass. Right. That is why edibles take a little longer to kick into your system, but they last for a longer amount of time. Mm-hmm. So all of those are products that are made specifically from the leaves and the bud, the flowers of the hemp plant. So I think that breeding of the plants, and I believe that Abigail and Kim and Stephanie would agree with me, the breeding needs to be more for the potential of the plant than it does the THC percentage. We talked a little bit about this in the tech check, that under 3% really, puts limitations and restrictions on the farm bill and on the people who are trying to get into a market. And if we want to include diversity, we also need to include a lot of these things along the way.
Great. So informative. I have a question. Could you suggest any excellent and vetted educational resources, ladies? I know you found quite a few.
Yes, definitely. Certificate programs, I found every tier that you can think of, as far as from free certificates to paying for a certificate to actual full degree university programs. A few of the certificate programs are Greenflower, Trichomes Institute, healer.com. Cloverleaf is one of the ones we mentioned yesterday, was Cloverleaf. Florida has Gulf Coast Institute, and we also have Cannabis Training University, which is CTU.com. But I also found out, in addition to the ones we spoke about and people are aware of, Colorado State, Ohio State, University of Washington, Harvard, Northern Michigan University, UC Davis, UCLA. We've got, school, Tufts University, University of Maryland, the University of Vermont. I mean, this is something within the last year that's really come up. So if you're a young person thinking about college careers, this is an industry that there's so many opportunities for inclusion and diversity and your own independent thinking. And we as people in the industry already have that opportunity to help those people along the way. And if you want a certificate, I would strongly recommend it. I think we're going to post a list in the show notes so that people can actually have links, because there are quite a few, and it depends on if you just want that. I personally have a green flower certification in cannabis fundamentals, and I learned so much about, the medical uses to the health and wellness benefits. Like she was speaking earlier, that it brings so much balance to my daily life, and without it, I would not even be out of the wheelchair. I did not have the motivation. I was completely this shell of myself. I never felt like Heather. I called myself the two Heathers, because I was on so many medications that I couldn't think. And plant medicine integrated with the medications that I have to take for multiple sclerosis that help my body. But the ones I didn't, for spasticity, my tremors went completely away. My vision got better. My writing, my arthritis got better, my neuropathy. And I started dropping medications. I've dropped 19 medications since 2017.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yes.
Heather, at the four-year colleges, what is the degree exactly, or is it a part of a four-year degree, or is it specifically focused on hemp?
They are very focused on everything from cannabis to hemp. There are certificates in cultivation, there are certificates in law, there are certificates in recipients of a PR firm, public relations, if you had a client. There are business and ethics certifications. There are medical certifications, and these are all, degrees. They do offer these degrees now. They're trying to be created as more of a medical consumer goods type mentality, like the pharmaceutical industry. And as I said, this has all happened within the last year. I couldn't remember all the names yesterday, but I was like, I'm wanting to say an M, and that was Maryland. Yeah. But Harvard has opened up a clinical degree in cannabis and chronic pain. There's a degree in agriculture of hemp and uses for hemp. So that would probably cover everything that both Abigail and I are talking about. So that would be, for the people in the poll that are in that 50% that aren't sure, go to the websites and look at the information they have offered for free. They have, amazing resources, amazing education, similar to the graphic that you just saw, and a lot of explanation. And I think even if you're not willing to pay for one, there are a lot of them that offer them to complimentary, just to walk you through the process of everything from using to dosing to making products from a hemp plant.
And the best companies have the best websites.
Yes.
You want to support products that have a good education, download on their website, right down to the lab testing. If they don't have that, check out someone else, because it needs to be transparent, scientifically based, with a really good education deliverable to understand products' efficacy and the science. Right. Abigail, what about you? Schools that you suggest, as Stephanie asked? Programs that you love about hemp and cannabis to help us educate?
So one really great program that I do recommend to everyone is the Hempitecture. It is the contractor license that you could build with hemp. It's a 4-day training, and it's in Idaho. You guys could check out Hempitecture. Also, the U.S. Hemp Building Association, which is on my shirt. We're working.
We lost her.
The U.S. Hemp Building Association. I'll type that into the chat. There we are. You're back. We lost you at your description of the U.S. Hemp Building Association. Yep. It's ushba.org, the U.S. Hemp Building Association. Abigail, you're back.
Okay, I'm back. So the Hemp Building Association. Also, there's another, you could earn a bachelor in the hemp industry for science. You could check on the email is online at unity.edu. and they're based on Maine, and everything's online. So it teaches you classes on licensing, on outdoor production, indoor commercial, on your marijuana handling stuff, and bud tending.
What was that website? Please repeat that URL.
It's online
Okay.
at the.edu. Maybe I could put it on the chat.
If you don't want to type it into the chat, I don't want to misdirect.
Okay, yeah. And then the another one is the one that I recommend really a lot is the hemp texture one. It's in Idaho. I recommend everybody should go do it because that's where the future is going to be, more in the building as well, every industrial, but I think it's going to hit really hard on the building, on the structures, on having healthier homes for everyone.
Huge, so huge, and tiny homes as well. And that seems to be really bridging the gap between large homes and small structures. We're leading with hemp in the built environment for smaller locations, and absolutely very interesting. Another one to suggest for everyone in New York, it's online as well, but the Parsons School of Design has the Healthy Materials Lab. They educate extensively with the U.S. Hemp Building Association. They have an online course to build with hemp in, I think it's right now only $50 to have a foundational education through the New School in New York, New School EDU, learning to build with hemp. So that's a quick wrap for the education piece. Education absolutely required, and advocacy, understanding, beating the myths, busting the misunderstandings. We're talking about plant medicine. We're talking about a plant that's able to be used 100% in a variety of every way. It touches every channel of our life. So moving on to diversity, the more I know about hemp, the more humbled I am with this plant, with Mother Nature, with her power, with her. We really need to be humble and supportive of what nature is doing if we don't get in the way, right? So
100% could not have said that better.
Well, and we're dedicated, but we got to find the loyal people that really believe that as the earth heals, we heal. Hemp is part of that, sequestering carbon, providing food, fiber, medicine, bringing up toxins from the earth, helping detoxify the earth. But most importantly, we need to also pay respect to those that have gone before us. Many people are misrepresented, misunderstood, maybe even still in jail for trying to advocate or find this medicine and pass it through. Unviolent offenses of people still in jail for cannabis or for hemp. So moving that forward as we advocate the diversity in this budding industry. Seriously, Heather, you've been in this industry. How do we, first of all, diversity. I brought that topic up. Diversity of people, inclusivity, but also diversity in all that hemp can create or provide. Diversity of the plant and its possibilities. But we've hit some grass ceilings, and we've also hit some glass ceilings when it comes to specifically diversity in the workplace. So my question to you, Heather, as a journalist and reporter and educator, what's it going to take? I know it's a big question, but what are your comments on the diversity required and how we might break this grass and glass ceiling?
It's a great question. I think number one, we're going to have to just be persistent about it, and we're going to have to include all demographics and our support group as our allies. We need to stop thinking. We need to build a better box, and to build a better box, you need all the hands on deck. And I do know 2019 last year. Jennifer Wetzel of Lady Jane Branding paired up with Dr. Naomi Wolf and Wolf Research to start the Women in Cannabis study that is an ongoing study where they're not just monitoring C-suite executives. They are having input ongoing that's very academically, rigorously looked at from everyone who works in the industry. Right. And you can go online at the womeninCannabisStudy.com and you can take it yourself. I find that's a tiny baby step towards the glass ceiling. The grass ceiling, I think, is going to come from the companies in the industry realizing how much that empowers them to have more diversity in not just their staff, but also their ideas in their product lines, in their uses for the product, because we seem to have divided into groups of medical cannabis and people that are hemp. And I try to tell everyone, these are the same tribe. We're all about the same plant. This is a plant that heals us with, like I said, I don't like to call it alternative because that's alternative. That's opposite of natural. I call it integrative. Because there are some medications, if you have high blood pressure, please take your high blood pressure medication. But that doesn't mean you cannot supplement that with your cannabis or your hemp and your CBD. Because these are things that are natural, that have been around, as Kim pointed out. These are ancient herbal medicines that were traditional until the Marijuana Tax Act in 1937, and that changed all the rules. So I would say going forward that we need to build a better box. There's no room for exclusivity in this industry. There's no room.
I'd like to say, forget the box.
Yeah.
Let's build a circle, come on, let's gather.
Yes, I think that's it. I mean, it's just the analogy is, let's stop thinking about around the box or outside the box. Let's just build something better than a box. How about that? Build something better than a box.
That's right.
With hemp.
Yes, with hemp. That's right. And I am a firm believer in tying the two industries together. I think medical cannabis pre-roll should come in hemp paper. I think that they should have hemp packaging. There is one dispensary here in Florida, AltMed Florida. They use sugarcane exit bags for their cannabis product.
This is an exit bag. It's way too much plastic. Just so you all know, this could be hemp. We have some options here.
Yeah. But
Abigail, you're back. We're going to grab your beauty and brightness while you're here on the screen. We've moved on to diversity, and it really struck my heart when you said yesterday during our check that hemp in the built environment could really help a lot of students. 1 in 5 students is homeless or has food insecurity. Do you hear me, Abigail? You hear that?
Yes, I do. So one of our biggest passion and why we did everything is because 1 in 5 students in the LACCD is currently homeless or going through food insecurity. So, they don't have any food that they can provide, let alone sir. So that is something, we have been affected because we have been affected on the war on drugs. And Los Angeles Trade Technical College, which is the college that we attend, is located right in the heart where, people that were actually affected and disproportionately affected. So it's the diversity of everyone, of students, people with disabilities.
To further Abigail's message, yes, it's the diversity of helping people in all aspects of life, and that hemp is absolutely could be a solution for their housing, for their food, for living in healthy environments. Abigail, you're back.
Okay, sorry about that. I don't know what's going on with the internet, but we, as the Industrial Hemp Alliance, we actually advocate for the diversity of people, like in the Spanish community, people who are hard of hearing. At some of our events, we have American Sign Language, people to come to interpretation, just so we could spread out about hemp and its benefits in any type of language. And that's something that is not really seen all over the world because it's not very diverse. but we're actually working with people in Mexico or people that speak Spanish. One of our club members is actually hard of hearing, so to access some his needs, we need to have people to interpret. And yeah, it's a diversity problem. And the thing is that most of us have been affected on the war on drugs, and the information isn't really being provided for us. So we have to go out and miles away to obtain the knowledge of hemp, because marijuana is here all over Los Angeles, but hemp isn't. And I think that's a really big problem in the world. People just need to know the benefits of it, the history of it. And I think that's how diversity and everything would be, I don't know, just everyone would just get access to this plant like it should, and at a good price once it's local.
Once it's local, absolutely.
And that's what I was speaking to earlier with the, if we start being more inclusive of all parties and everything from seed to sale all the way down, we can outreach through our communities and help solve and be a salve to some of these issues. That's why I say hemp heals. I don't just mean physically. I mean, it's socially, economically, strategically. Hemp is a plant that literally has that capacity. And it's just something that we need to do our part to educate everyone. Even word of mouth advocacy, grassroots, the way that the Hemp Twins are doing it, the way that everyone does it. You have to find that little niche because it builds trust in your community. If you are dealing with people of the same background, you feel more comfortable with the hemp and the using of it and the planting of it and the buying of it. If in fact, that I know these background, I know these people personally. So I think that that's, the grassroots, literal grassroots of a hemp. I mean, it is a matter of inclusiveness all the way around, that we need to start from the people who are consuming it to the people who are planting it and everywhere in between. This is something that needs to be mainstream so we can overcome that stigma of that certain demographics are prone to certain cannabis use behaviors, or even that they're not fit for, cannabis leadership. We need to get out of the thinking there and stop that stigma as much as we do any other stigma, I feel. I mean, we just think certain groups are not fit for certain things, and we need to stop saying that,
That's a limitation. That is limited thinking.
Right.
Is limited. And if I've learned anything, as you all, by being a medical cannabis patient, it's been enlightening and expanding and unifying. And why can't we, if we can grow peppermint and spinach and veggies in our garden, they're going to come to our house because we're growing hemp to feed our family?
Right.
That's ridiculous. It really is.
If I need linalool, I shouldn't have to grow lavender in my kitchen. That's a terpene that's found in the hemp plant, in the cannabis plant. I mean, there's so many natural things that could be gained from that.
So much.
Yes.
Abigail, welcome back. Hey.
Yay. I definitely agree with diversity and prosperity for all. So in closing, is there anything you would like to share with the audience with the most important need to know about hemp? What would you like people to take away from this conversation today?
Abigail, let's start with you, please.
Yes.
Wow.
Abigail, you might be on mute. Can you hear us? Okay. Heather, your thoughts?
Oh, wait, can Abigail hear?
I don't think she can hear.
Yeah. Well, as I said, I think the biggest thing is that people understand that it is one plant, but it has multiple parts, and that comes from, we have cannabis, CBD, hemp. They're all one plant. It's
so.
I want people. Yeah.
I think could you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes, we hear you. Yes, go ahead.
Maybe she can't hear us.
Maybe there's a delay. I think there's a delay for her, maybe.
Okay. Well, as I was saying, I think you're right. I mean, there is no box here. It is just an open field. We need to take the initiative as individuals who believe in plant medicine. And I want people to take away from this that this is a integrative approach to your health, to your well-being, to your balance, to your wellness.
Hello?
This is an integrated
Yeah, I
approach.
think it's delayed. Hello? Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Technology.
Okay. It's like love it or lump it, right?
What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do?
Your balance, your wellness.
Abigail, will you just mute because we can? I think it's delayed, and I'm gonna mute Abigail.
Okay.
Okay,
Hello?
Heather, do you want to?
Okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to go with. I mean, I do understand. I mean, there is room for everyone when it comes to the hemp plant. That's what I really want to leave people with. This is not an exclusive club. This is something anyone can access in some capacity, some aspect, from the trying of it to the growing of it to the cultivation to the advocacy. There are so many avenues. So my biggest point to leave people with is just that there is room for everyone in the hemp plant industry. I mean, everyone. It doesn't matter. I started like with a degree in English, and I'm writing for the Cannabis Law Report now. So, and I'm here today being able to share my knowledge. And I think that's why we're all in it, is to let people know the amazing things that it can do, from building your house to filling your house with cleaning products to filling your house with medication. This is one plant that grows in the earth that you can integrate into your life seamlessly. And yes.
Abigail, welcome back. Your takeaway. What would you really like people to know about hemp in their life and moving forward?
I think that most important is that hemp is the only plant that could probably save this world, especially what we're going through right now, pollution problems as well, everything, climate change. It is the only plant that could house you, heal you, cure you, and feed you. And so I don't know, I just think it's the best plant that, is man-made, and there's many uses of it. And I think that people just really need to educate themselves.
Such knowledge, such wisdom from a young Gen Z, bright.
That makes me excited. I love this. Yes.
Happy tears.
Yes. I think that it's amazing that people of different generations and age groups are really and like I said, it's our job to keep doing this, no matter technical issues or not. We keep going. We keep going because that's what this is about. This is a group effort, and we're all in this together.
And I think Abigail has her hemp guitar. She's about to serenade us. Who was that?
Watch this. Everybody needs to watch this. The Emperor Wears No Clothes.
The Emperor Wears No Clothes.
Is that Jack Herer's book?
Yes, I actually have it. All of it. The grassroots. It talks about the benefits.
The Emperor Wears No Clothes is actually available free online on a lot of different sites. Just look it in and type it in and look for a PDF. But that's Jack Herer, the Jack Herer strain that came out. That's his book. And he basically, it's amazing. And the other one I would recommend, you probably have read it, Steve D'Angelo's Cannabis Manifesto. Yes. Amazing.
Yes. And
this is one of my favorite. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Abigail's back on. What have you got? The Emperor Wears No Clothes. It's a coloring book. What is that?
Yes. Oh, no, it's actually a book. They call it the Bible of Hemp, of cannabis. It was gifted to me by Dan Herrera, Jack Herer's. Yeah.
And what's this? Oh,
Hemp out the world.
hemp out the world.
Yeah,
I
so
love
we have
it.
other
I
things.
love it.
So yeah, there's many benefits of hemp, and we also have a hemp guitar that I wanted to show you guys. And it's
Beautiful.
from the NoCo.
Beautiful. So she's showing us a hemp guitar. It's a freeze frame. Isn't that a song? Freeze frame? Anyhow,
Yeah.
It is.
she's in a freeze frame.
I was
holding
gonna
a
say,
guitar, talking
I
about
like-
NoCo, which is an important conference about hemp and cannabis. And Heather, you have a book to share with us as well?
I do. This is Cannabis Philosophy for Everyone.
Yes.
Subtitle, what were we just talking about? It is a collection. It's edited by Dale, Jacque Jackhead. It is amazing. It goes through kind of everything from how was hemp used back in the day to where it went in modern culture before DARE, and moves on. So very good.
Very good. That guitar is beautiful, Abigail. Was that made in the United States? And do we have the processing and in place to start making products on all channels with hemp? Is that a U.S. made guitar?
It is. It's made from Canada. It is in Canada. We actually got it at the Hemp History.
So made in Canada. That's interesting. United States is right in the middle of Canada, rocking hemp and cannabis, getting there. Mexico's getting there. So we're Oreo cookies in this edible hemp here. Pretty soon the U.S. has got to catch up. We aren't far behind.
I think after November, we're going to see a lot of change because we were ruled an essential service for medical cannabis. I was actually on a panel with the Cannabis Information Project about how the cannabis industry, even the hemp industry, has really stepped up to change and to get things in place. So, I mean, going forward, not knowing what's going to be happening in the world, I think the industry is ready. And I think it's time. I think it's time that we start making a change. So I see by 2021 the world's gonna look a lot different.
Amen. Amen. What are your thoughts, Abigail, while we wrap it up?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that? My thoughts on what?
I said I'd really love your thoughts as a wrap up for our webinar today with the topic education and diversity required. From your perspective as an educator, as a young leader, as a passionate community builder, please continue your words to us for inspiration as we move forward with and for healing.
I think inspirational maybe. I really live by this quote that Tupac actually says. It says, I don't guarantee you that I would change the world, but I guarantee you that I would spark the brain that is going to change the world. So I think slowly, collectively, we could all change the world by implementing hemp and the uses of hemp. And it's, I think, our responsibility to let our whole community know about the benefits of hemp and how our world could change for a better being, for our air quality that we breathe, for our own home that we're living in, for the clothes, for what we're putting on our body, for what we're eating, for what we put on our hair.
Yeah. Beautiful. I love that lady. I'm crying, seriously.
Yeah. I'm so admiration, inspiration from that generation, and just hearing that,
For real, Abigail, that was so inspiring and so truthful. Your generation, your Gen Z, millennials, we respect and so much love for the way that you see that the world will be. You're leading us, and we thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
Stephanie, take it because I'm still crying.
Oh, well, that's a perfect way to close us out. And thank you so much, Abigail. Thank you, Kim. Thank you, Heather. This was Project Positive Planet, Based Healing, and thank you to Collier Concepts, which is also Kim's company. And everyone have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you. It was wonderful.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Bye-bye.
Bye.